Hello, FBK. My name is Sherri Ellison. I am a member here, and I want to share with you about Grief Share. In November of 2023, I lost my husband of almost 30 years, very unexpectedly, from a massive heart attack. He was 51 years old. He was strong, he was healthy, and he was the love of my life. At that time, I had no clue that we had a grief share ministry at our church. I remember in those first few days and weeks and months, I was in complete shock, a huge fog, and there's a lot I don't even remember. But I do remember a few different people mentioned grief share to myself and our grown children. I had no clue what it was, but immediately I was drawn to how that might be able to help me. I felt like I was drowning in an ocean of grief. And at times, everything was okay. I could breathe, I could function, and then waves of grief would just crash over me. I knew that the spring session was not starting until March, and I immediately told myself, I'm going to do this. I need this. And two of our grown children also expressed interest in it. As March got closer, I was both excited, weirdly to say, and extremely anxious and scared. This was something I had no clue what it was going to entail. Walking into something was scary, and I remember that first day when I walked in, I thought, how am I going to relate to these other people? Like, my grief is so much bigger than theirs. It's so much fresher, and I know that's the wrong thing to say, but that's how I felt. Like, nobody's going to understand this. I also remember seeing video, like we were going to watch a video, and I thought, how is a video going to help me? And I was blown away, honestly, in that first class. Like, all these thoughts for the past months that have been going through my head, feelings even about, I can't believe these are feelings that are going through my mind. In a way, I felt like I was going crazy, that I wasn't grieving appropriately. And that first video we watched, I remember hearing things that was like, that's how I'm feeling. And them saying this is normal. That was so important to hear, that I was feeling these feelings in a normal way. And then after the video, there was a group of chairs set up. And I remember TL, one of our leaders, saying, we're going to gather together in a circle and have group time. And my face must have given away my terror of that. This was not something I wanted to do. I did not feel comfortable talking about my grief or sharing it with people I didn't know. And I walked away from that not wanting it to end. That became one of the most helpful parts of class, was group time. All these people who had lost husbands, brothers, fathers, children, they all related to me in their grief journey in a way that kind of surprised me. Like, it made me be able to possibly talk to my own grown children, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, because they had lost a son, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, because they had lost their brother, my own siblings, because they had lost a friend and a brother-in-law also. And I could just draw off these other people who were also going through what I was. And it gave me hope. Hope was something that I thought I had lost, and I didn't want to lose it. I found myself, it was every Tuesday, and I felt so good when I left on Tuesday evening. Wednesday, I was in a much better place. Thursday, still doing good. By Friday, starting to slip a little. And by Monday of the next week, I was craving the fellowship with these other people, with our fearless leaders, as my kids would say. 2 of our 3 adult children also joined me in this, and they felt the same way. Like, we just love this group. We love our leaders who check on us throughout the week, who pray for us. And then these other people in our class have become some of our closest friends. They are people that we have a group chat with now, and we talk to them throughout the week. And if something's going on, we'll send a text and they'll pray for us or pray for me, and that's super important. What I found is life continues to go on. As much as I don't want it to sometimes, I just want to pause it. I know my kids want to pause it, but it continues to go on, and things happen. Other things happen. I recently found out that I have a big cyst in my brain, and I'm going to have surgery on it in the upcoming weeks or month. And we were recently together in a unexpected summer session of Grief Share, because we all just continue to need that support. And I mentioned this to everybody in the class, and they actually put me in the center of the circle and laid hands on me and prayed for me. And that just was so touching. It was so needed, I realized. And these people love me, and I love them. This is a class that a year ago I had no clue we had at FBK. I was going on with my life like I would never need something like that, and yet life happens. You can't control it, and things happen. And this was a lifeline that I cling to all the time. So I am not one to put myself in a situation that I don't know what's going to happen. And so I understand the anxiety and the fear about walking into any situation that you are feeling vulnerable. And when you're in grief, you are completely vulnerable. And if you are sitting out there and you have lost anyone, and it doesn't have to be recent, like there were people in our Grief Share group that had lost somebody years prior to going. It does not matter what stage of grief you're in. It is so important to take that step in the healing process. And healing is not always the same time frame for everybody. I'm still going through it. I'm actually going to go through the next Grief Share session, and I'm anxiously awaiting for it. And if this is something that you are in the season of, I highly encourage you to at least come to that first class. And if you're afraid to do it alone, I would be more than willing to stand outside that room and walk in with you or sit next to you, because it is scary and it is terrifying at times. But if you're like me, I needed something. I needed something to help me, to comfort me, and to give me hope. I needed to know that I was going to get through this. And it might take months, years, even a decade. I will go through Grief Share as many times as it takes, because I feel like you will get something different at different stages of your grief journey. This last session I went through, I was in a lot of fog. I was in a lot of shock. And I know that I'm going to get something completely different this time out of it.